Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to Thursday's edition of our Mystic Road Trip. And it's Thursday, so you know that means that it is Tarot Thursday. That means we're going to be dissecting a tarot card. If you have never been here before, my name is Kim, and I am a lover of everything spiritual, wellness, magical, mystical, anything that falls underneath the umbrella that a lot of people call woo-woo. I am down for it. It is my thing. And I am not ashamed of it. My hair is doing something crazy today. Anyway, all right. Welcome. This is our Mystic Road Trip. It's a podcast where I dive deep into anything magical, mystical, or spiritual, in the hopes that I can find more information and knowledge on my path, and then I can share it to you. It's one of the things I think I am destined on this earth to do, is to share my knowledge with people. So that's what I'm doing. Tarot is a big thing for me. It is one of the loves of my life. I have been doing it for a very long time. Not professionally, but I have been doing it for a very long time. And now I am doing it professionally as well. So, with that being said, let's jump into today's episode. All right, so as you can tell, that is my new intro. It is not probably the final one, but it'll do for now. Before we jump into the tarot card of the day, which is the Judgment card, a few things. If you want to reach out to me, there's ways to do that in the description box. There's also ways to support the podcast financially. If you don't support it financially, if you would just like, comment, share, follow, do all those good things, especially if you feel like you got something from it, so that I can get out there in the algorithm and maybe help other people too. That's really what I'm here to do. That would be amazing if you could do that for me. Also, if you want more information on this topic and tons of other stuff, make sure you check out my Medium publication. It's in the description as well. And there is also another podcast. The link is in the description box. It's called Where All the Ladies At, and it is a history podcast solely devoted to finding out where the heck all the women went in history, where we cover a lot of really cool people. And really tell some stories that deserve to be heard this month. If you're interested to check it out, we are covering sun goddesses for the mythical and magical portion. And then I'm sorry for that, my neighbors are outside talking. And as for the history part, we're talking about women who stood up against fascism and philosophers. So if that's something you're interested in, please by all means check it out. Once again, I apologize for the yelling. Anyways, let's talk about tarot cards, right? Today we are talking about the Judgment card, and it is all about transformation and awakening. Oh my lord. Alright, let's try this again. Anyways, so the Judgment card is the 20th card of the Major Arcana, right? We are almost done with the Major Arcana, and just as a precursor, as a little look into the future, our next suit is going to be the Suit of Swords, which is really, really cool. It's what, if you can have a favorite suit, it's one of my favorites. So it is, the Judgment card is one of the ones that has one of the most interesting imagery. And once again, when I'm talking about imagery, I am talking about the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith style decks, which it basically depicts a giant angel. It's typically supposed to be Archangel Gabriel, and he's on top of the card. He's blowing his golden trumpet, right? There's a white flag with a red cross, and this is supposed to meant to be signifying announcements and divine messages. Maybe spiritual awakening, higher calling, that kind of thing. Below him is figures that are rising from their graves, their arms kind of outstretched like this. There's men, there's women, there's children, but typically they are on water. And this is meant to kind of symbolize rebirth, renewal, and the shedding of past burdens. And also, because does have to do with, they are floating on water. A lot of people look at this as being emotional and spiritual transformation, because water is typically, if you heard that, that was my cat saying hello. typically seen as talking about subconscious or intuition. When you look at it, the positioning is also pretty key, right? Individuals tend to act independently, but people in the Judgment card are rising together. So this could indicate like a collective experience, like shared revelations or spiritual unity. You know, life transformations don't happen by yourself all the time, right? There's also a bright sky and a golden light that's shining down, and that's clarity and truth and divine presence. And now that's meant to oversee the moment. Basically, the card is saying you're getting ready to awaken to a new reality, maybe embrace your true purpose, kind of let go of the past mistakes and guilt. It's basically an invitation to step into the new chapter with the wisdom and understanding that you've gained from the previous, right? And that's kind of what the Judgment card is. Now, if we look at it through numerology, it's a 20, right? So that number signifies transition and awakening and spiritual alignment. The number 20 basically goes down to 2, right? So we've talked about that. You take double digits except for like 1, 1, 2, 2, that kind of thing. And you reduce it down, right? So it goes down to 2. And that's balance and partnership and duality, right? It's very much, the number 2 is very much connected to relationships. And that's not only with others, but also with yourself. So when you get Judgment down to that, the core essence of it reminds us that self-reflection and personal growth are not solitary journeys. We evolve through experiences with others and find balance between past lessons and future aspirations. And that's what's key to transformation, right? You can't learn if you never experience anything, right? On top of that, 20 is kind of a higher octave of 2, right? So it means that it tends to be amplified, and it amplifies the energy of like harmony and intuition and diplomacy. So the number 2 is about decisions and connections. 20 goes one step further, and that indicates a moment of like reckoning and self-awareness and ultimate enlightenment. When reading Judgment as 20, this can point to like moments of clarity and everything suddenly making sense. Kind of like that aha moment, right? Whether that be about your purpose or relationships or a choice that you're having to make, this numerological aspect of it really has you saying like evaluate your path, right? Don't dwell on your mistakes of the past. Acknowledge them and use them to move forward with renewed purpose and confidence, right? And numerologically, that is kind of what the card is signifying. Now, let's talk about how to read it upright and reversed. And I am going to preface this by saying, like I always do, I know that not everybody reads things the same, right? In particular, when it comes to reverse. Some people don't read reverses at all. Some people read it as slower moving energy. That's what I do. And then some people literally go the traditional route and make it like the opposite of, or the, not negative, I don't want to use the word negative, but the flip side of the right meaning. So let's talk about upright first, okay? Let me get my sleeves up. All right, so Judgment, when it's upright, it's like an alarm clock blaring at full volume. It's time to wake up. This card is about self-reflection and renewal and transformation. And it's that moment where everything starts to click into place and you really realize that things need to change. You know, at its very, very core, Judgment says, you know, really look at your past choices and experiences. Don't dwell or regret. Like, that's not what it's saying, but it's asking you to look at them and really learn from them, right? It's like, I don't know about you guys, but at the end of the year, I do like this, like, yearly review of what happened in my life. And then I can make adjustments to where I want to go or what I need to do, right? And that's kind of what this card is asking you to do about your life, right? Where have you been? What have you done? And how has it shaped who you are in this very moment? It is really about acknowledging the journey and using the lessons that you get to move yourself forward. This card does tend to appear a lot when people are at crossroads or really facing a major life transition. You know, whether that's a career shift, a new relationship, you're totally reinventing yourself. This card says, look at the bigger picture, release the past, and trust yourself, right? So spiritually, Judgment represents an awakening, right? A moment of really, really intense clarity where you see your purpose it's very much in focus. It does remind you that you are in control of your own redemption, right? Whatever mistakes you made, whatever guilt or fear that is holding you back, it's time to kind of just let it go, rise up, and go on for a fresh start, right? If you've been putting in the work, whether that's self-improvement or healing or facing hard truths, this card could very well be that confirmation saying, hey, you know what, you're doing the right thing, you know, a breakthrough is coming, and just make sure you're ready to answer the call when it comes, right? In reversed, the message does shift, right? A reverse judgment is like snoozing, right? Instead of you moving forward, you're stuck, probably in doubt, maybe fear, hesitation. You don't want to embrace changes or really do any type of self-reflection. So like it's basically self-doubt, fear of change, ignoring your intuition. These are all things that the reverse judgment has a tendency of meaning, right? It's a warning sign. You know, are you refusing to acknowledge something super important? Whether that's difficult truths or you're clinging on to old patterns, these are not serving you anymore. And you have to have honest self-reflection if you want growth. And this card is saying, you know, you have to face your fears instead of running from them. It can also talk about missed opportunities. Perhaps you've given a second chance at something, but you're kind of nervous about it, and you're not sure if you're ready for it, and you take so long that it kind of you miss the opportunity. You know, and this card would be like, hey, you take it while you can, wake up before it's too late, otherwise you're going to lose it, right? On a much deeper level, the card can really show a tendency to not forgive yourself, right? Guilt and refusing to let yourself move on. You know, this card is a clear indication that it's time to kind of move on, embrace the transformation. You know, there's good things waiting for you if you can. In the end, Judgment reversed is kind of like a little push, right? The universe is saying, stop holding yourself back, right? It's time to change your life. You have the ability. You just have to step up and take responsibility for your own evolution. And that's super important in this situation. Sorry, guys. I have this like hangnail, and it is driving me crazy. Anyways, let's talk about astrological associations. Judgment. It's transformation, right? So that would mean that it probably is associated with, you guessed it, the planet Pluto. Lovely. And I called it a planet. In astrology, it's still a planet. Maybe that's why I like astrology so much. So, another thing about Pluto is that it does not really like small talk. It really likes to tear things down and rebuild from the ground up. It is the like, I'm going to burn this house down and rebuild it on a better foundation kind of thing. So it's transformation, rebirth, deeper interchange, right? And that's why it's associated with the Judgment card. Pluto's influence means a lot of these changes are not surface level. They're very deep and soul level transformation. You know, death and rebirth, revelations, power struggles. With the energy of Pluto supporting this card, Judgment, it's not just suggesting change. It's saying it's time to change. There's no ands, ifs, or buts about it, right? It's there. So whether you're ready or not, something in your life is going to shift, and the only way to move forward is to embrace that change. I would not fight Pluto's influence. Good luck if you try. Pluto just left Capricorn after forever and an age, eons is what it felt like. And if I had fought every single change and every single transformation that happened during that long period of time, I would not be where I am today. And I did fight against some of it, and that's maybe why it took me so long to get here. Resistance just makes the process harder. Pluto is asking you to transform for a reason, and the universe is saying this is good for you. It might be hard, but I highly suggest don't fight that influence. Don't do it. Now, when we're talking about elements for this card, it is associated with fire. And part of that is because, as I just said, fire burns away what's no longer needed, right? Fire helps with purification. It's linked to passion and energy, and it is linked to transformation, right? Fire turns raw ingredients into something new. This card is therefore signaling major shifts, right? Passion, energy. Fire is like fiery, right? It's all about being bold and moving. Yes, do it. And then purification, a controlled burn can clear dead wood, and that makes way for new growth. And that is a beautiful thing, right? So you have to think about it, right? Fire isn't subtle changes. It's bold, it's intense, it's very impossible to ignore. So when that happens, judgment is like when judgment shows up, it's like your inner flame, right? It's roaring, it's ready to go, right? The fire Pluto combo, though, makes judgment one of the most powerful cards in the deck. This isn't about any superficial tweaks. It's not about making a few adjustments. It is a full-on rebirth. And the only question is are you ready to rise from the ashes after it's done? Okay? So let's talk about crystals, herbs, and deities, and color, and then we'll talk a little bit about how to use it in your mindfulness. So, if you're choosing to work with a judgment card and want kind of like a crystal to go along with it, amethyst is kind of a go-to. It's good for clarity and wisdom and spiritual insight. It can cut mental fog. It can help you link more closely with your higher consciousness, which makes, when you do that, it kind of makes self-reflection a little bit easier. It also can help soothe anxiety and fear. Because look, change is hard, but big change. There's anxiety and fear there, and you have to embrace it. So if you can cool it and soothe it and find ways to do it, why not, right? So, yeah, I think amethyst could be a really good thing. It could help you clear the mental and emotional clutter that might be standing in your way. Herbal-wise, I'm probably going to say sage, anything that cleanses energy. So sage, rosemary is good, Palo Santo, this card is talking about shedding the past, so you have to get the negative energy out. So purifying and protecting and resisting energy is important. When you're feeling stuck, and resistant sage is a great tool to have. If you don't like the smell, like I said, rosemary also works well, and so does Palo Santo. It's just dependent on your flavoring, right? So purification wise, it gets rid of negative and old thought patterns, and that helps with the fresh start, right? You can use it burning, or you can use essential oils, however you want to do it, but it could really help with clarity and focus by getting rid of all the excess energy, and you can definitely see that. And sage, of course, the smoke, it carries the stagnant energy away. It pushes you to kind of let go and just let it float up into the air just with the smoke. I think that's a good thing. A deity, well, here's the thing. I know the typical one everybody would want to go with is Pluto, right? Good old Pluto, right? Hades. But in this sense, because it's resurrection, renewal, and rebirth, not that would be a bad deity to get a hold of, but I think Osiris is a little bit more what I would be after, right? Afterlife, journey, transformation. Osiris was literally put back together after being torn apart. That's literally the best version of rebirth ever. he was also he was like part of the judgment, right? Souls were judged after death. And then also Osiris represents endings that lead to new beginnings, right? He was ripped apart. He was alive. He was ripped apart. He came back together, right? So Osiris is kind of maybe a good god to kind of like invoke if you're really looking to absorb the energies of this card. Color wise, it's going to be light blue, guys. It's, you know, the sky on a clear day, that's clear and truth, right? You see things as they really are. Communication, the color itself is linked to the throat chakra, so that's speaking and accepting truth. And also psychologically and color therapy wise, light blue carries a calm and very soothing energy, and it makes it kind of easier to embrace changes that this card brings with it, right? So you can, you know, surround yourself light blue, however, you know, whatever you want to do, however you want to use these tools, right? So how are you going to incorporate judgment into daily mindfulness? Well, if you want to bring the energy of this card into in your day, it doesn't really require a lot. It's just all about small, like intentional practices. Anything that looks at self-awareness or growth or renewal. So journaling, maybe doing like a personal life audit, you know, checking in with yourself. What lessons have I learned? Are there patterns in my life that I keep repeating? What's my next step for personal growth? Things like that. The practice helps you kind of recognize where you've been, where you are, and where you're headed, and that helps you stay more focused. Morning and evening reflection, so like taking deep breaths and asking yourself, doing some breathing, am I ignoring an inner calling? Is there something in my life that needs change? What can I do to move forward with clarity? You may not have the answers right away, but the breathing aspect of that will help you calm down in this. And honestly, just by asking the questions, you're already kind of putting it out into the universe to create that transformation. So that's kind of a cool thing. Clearing mental and emotional centers, so kind of letting go of the past, maybe a small cleansing ritual, like I said, burn sage, hold amethyst, surround yourself with the light blue. All those things are pretty helpful. You know, acting on your insights is another good one, and this I think is maybe sometimes harder for some people. You can reflect all day, every day, right? I can do my journaling every morning, I can do my meditation, but if I don't make movement, nothing is going to change. You need to commit to a small step toward transformation. So maybe you have to have a conversation that you've been meaning to have. Maybe you need to set a boundary. Maybe you need to make a bold decision. You just have to trust that you're ready, you know. And I think by incorporating any of these mindfulness exercises, you're really kind of trying to align with the energy of the Judgment card. And really, that's great, because that means you're looking to embrace that new, that growth, that fresh perspective, right? And that's amazing. So that's it. That's the Judgment card. Transformation, self-awareness, new beginnings. You know, embracing change starts with understanding where you've been and where you want to go, right? Although I talk about staying in the present, you do have to know a little bit about the past and a little bit, and think about where you want to go in the future. It's not a blind run. I would say don't live there too long, but taking a little account to see would be help. So thanks for tuning in, guys. If you enjoyed, please don't forget, you know, subscribe and share with share with people, comment, do all that kind of stuff. If you want to reach out, you can do that through my social media. If you want more information like this, check out the link to the Medium publication. If you want to support the channel financially, I have a Buy Me a Coffee and a Patreon down below. And if you want to know more stuff about women in history, check out my other podcast. All of those things are good. So that is it for the Judgment card. We have one more card of the Major Arcana, then we start the Suit of Swords. So I'm looking forward to that. All right, guys, that's it. Like I said, until next time, keep on reflecting, keep growing, and stay curious and be blessed, guys.